Hi, my name's Jen. I am a coloring book artist and a small business owner, and typically I make videos about those things, but today I'm bringing you along as I make these. These are my latest woodcut paintings, and in today's video, I'll be sharing my process to make them. So, let's get started. It's been a while since I've last updated my shop and added new items aside from my coloring books and my coloring pages. And lately, with summer approaching, I've been especially inspired to make fruit-related art, so that will be the theme for my paintings in an upcoming collection that I'm working on. So to begin, and similar to almost every new project that I do, we're starting with sketching out all of my ideas in my sketchbook. At this stage, I am not worried about getting things done perfectly or exact, and instead I focus only on getting the ideas out onto paper. There's no really any saying for how long or how much you need to sketch and thumbnail ideas, but typically for me, I usually get something that I like after filling up a page or so. From my sketches, I've decided to pick out 3 of my ideas to turn into woodcut paintings. So I'll be doing these stacked oranges, these spinning blueberries, and the apple trio. The sketches that I did in my sketchbook are just quick and rough doodles, so I'm only going to be using them as a reference as I do the more refined sketches in Procreate on my iPad. For these sketches, I now focus on getting things finalized and to my liking for the end design, and I often use features like the symmetry tool to help me. For the final line art, I also like having a thicker and untextured line, so I usually go in using the Studio pen brush that's already built into the app. I also do all of the line art on a separate layer, and I usually lower the opacity on the sketch layer just to make things easier when I'm tracing the design. To cut my wood pieces, I'll be using the M1 Ultra laser machine, so with my line art finished, I can now set up my project in the xTOOL creative space. With past projects, I've used other software to convert my files from PNG to SVG before uploading, but for today, I'm skipping all of that and going straight in and using the features that are already built into the software. So first, I'll upload my design onto the canvas. And to set up the project, there are 3 things that I need to set, or 3 actions that I want to happen. I want the design to be scored, the outline to be cut, and then I also want a separate and slightly larger outline to be cut as well. So first things I'm going to do is I'll apply a trace to my design. And what this does is it turns my design into a vector, which is what I used to do using other software to create an SVG file for my designs before I realized that I can just do it all in here. Next, using that image that I already uploaded, I'll use the offset feature, making sure to only include the outer shapes only, and increasing the distance to 5 millimeters. At this point, I can delete my image design since I don't really need it anymore, and to finish up, I'll be doing a second offset on the design, remembering to only include the outer shapes, but this time I'm going to decrease the offset distance to 0 because I want the cut to go right along the outline. Now, since we're doing a combination of scoring and cutting, I also need to adjust the setting for each task. I just referenced my past projects since I'll be using the same materials and I've tested these settings with my machine. But if you are new to laser machines, I do recommend doing your own tests to find the perfect settings. And what's cool with the xTOOL Creative Space, you can also select the material that you'll be using to get their recommendations, which is super beneficial if you're not sure where to start. With everything set up now, I can now connect and turn on the machine. It's all pretty easy at this point. I just have to let the machine run and complete all the cuts, with each project taking about 15 to 20 minutes to complete from start to finish. After everything is done, I did give each piece a bit of a sand and I applied a white primer, but I chose not to record that step because I did it in the garage. And if you didn't know, I do live in Texas and it's already getting really hot, so I just wanted to get in and out and do it really quickly. Okay, so now comes my favorite part where I get to paint. For the main areas, I will be using Holbein acrylic gouache, and for outlines, I'll be using black Posca paint pens. To begin, I'm going to start with the stacked orange piece first. And while I paint, I do want to mention a few things. Firstly, that I am working on a small shop update, as I briefly mentioned in the very beginning of the video. I hope to have the release of this new collection in about 2 weeks. And the working theme that I'm considering is revolving around either summer, like a summer farmer's market, or a summer harvest. So the main subjects of the art will be fruits and veggie and just inspired by summer. It's been a while since I've last updated my shop with new products, aside from coloring books and coloring pages, so I just wanted to add a few new things since it's been a long time. It's not going to be anything too big though, and I'm mostly sticking to things that I can make at home. So think stickers, maybe magnetic bookmarks, new coloring pages for sure, and just whatever else I can come up with. I was considering making some pouches, but I haven't been able to find a place where I can buy them in bulk or in a style that I like and what I'm looking for. I'm not really too picky on the material, but I think a light color fabric like canvas would be good. I'd like to have blanks too so that I can apply a design to the front with my heat press. I've been able to find loads of these kinds of pouches online, but the main thing that I'm looking for in my pouches is I want a pouch that has a gusset so that they can stand up on their own and so that there's lots of room for all the supplies that you might want to put in there. But like I said, I haven't been able to find exactly what I'm looking for. So for now, it's kind of, placed, I'm putting it aside until I find what I'm looking for, but I will keep looking. After my shop update, I do plan to start working on the next coloring book. It also feels like it's been a long time since I've worked on any book, but the most recent edition was the Thread the Love coloring book, which was released back in February. It had the most pages I've ever done for a coloring book, and the style was a little bit different than the original seasonal ones. But yeah, I'm just ready to jump back into the process and create something new. Now, as for the theme of the next book, I'm a little bit torn on what to do. I have always have a long list of ideas that I'd love to bring to life, but I'm not sure what you all want, so I want your help to help me pick and make a decision. Back in February, I did put out a poll for my patrons to help me decide, but I haven't really started working on anything aside from making a list of ideas, and the idea that I initially wanted to do was a circus theme. But from the poll, the top contenders were Under the Sea, Adventure Awaits, think travel adventure with, hot air balloons, camper vans, tents, and just my characters exploring. And the last one was Cozy Cafe / Bakery, and that idea did have the most votes. But I'd also like to get your input. Which of these ideas would you like to be the next coloring book? I really want to know, so please let me know in the comments. And if you have any other suggestions, please let me know as well. I love to hear all of the ideas you have, and if I don't manage to make them into a full coloring book, I can always use them for printable coloring pages too. Now, while on the topic of my coloring books, I think it's time that I finally give my characters names and figure out their different personalities. I have centered all of my books and almost all of my art for the last few years around my characters. My bear character being the oldest and the one that has been around the longest. The bear is just what started it all. I knew a bear was always going to be a part of my art and everything that I create, since bears are my favorite animals, and I do have a bear as my logo, so our bear friend is definitely the main guy. My frog character has been around for a long while too. I started making different sticker designs with this character, and I've always enjoyed incorporating them into my art. It seems like a nice addition to the lineup. And as for my cow character, that one was the most recent addition and came into being from a Peachtober prompt in 2022, then disappeared for a long time until I made my coloring books. I just love the way that the cow looked when I originally first drew them, and felt like they fit in perfectly with my other two characters. These characters are the ones that just stuck out to me the most, and I absolutely adore them. So I think giving them proper names and building their personalities and characteristics is definitely long overdue. And I just think it'd be really fun to make official, maybe like trading cards or, like some stickers or something revolving around these, introductions and personalities would be really nice. But it's just all been on my mind to properly introduce them and give them official names. So I hope to do that very soon, and I will probably do a poll for finalizing making decisions and all that on my Patreon. So that's something to look out for as well. And I've also been thinking of including maybe one or two more characters. A trio is great, and I love my 3 guys, but I've been toying with the idea of having a slightly bigger group. I think a duck might be a cute addition, and it's just been on my mind and haven't been able to stop thinking about it since my boyfriend suggested it, and I think that'd be really cool. But I'd have to play around with the character design and see if I like the fit with the original 3 before making that an official thing. But if it comes to fruition, I'll be sharing that with all of you, of course. Here is the final reveal. I've glued all the paintings onto their bases, and I've applied a matte UV resistant clear acrylic coating to all of them just to finish them off and protect them, and I think that they look so good together. I appreciate you for watching, and I hope I was able to keep you company while you did something creative too. And before I go, I'd like to mention very quickly that I've recently made some changes to my Patreon. I'm now officially offering 2 coloring pages as well as an exclusive video every single month, so if you want to see more coloring content, feel free to check it out. Thank you again for watching, and I hope that you have a creative rest of your day and week ahead of you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!